The 26th of April, 2026, Sunday morning. We're in chapter 5 of Common Buddhist Texts, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. The chief editor of this book is Dr. Prat Maha Dhamma Kosachan. We're in chapter 5 on human life from the Theravada perspective. Again, we're going to cover the perspective from Theravada, from Mahayana, and Vajrayana. We are in Theravada tradition, chapter 5, on karma. And we left off here in karma is your bad actions will catch up with you sooner or later. Quoted from, or cited from, the Dhammapada 69 and 71, as long as an evil deed has not been ripened, the fool thinks it is as sweet as honey. But when it does ripen, the fool meets with suffering. An evil deed is not like warm milk that goes off in a day. It is like the smoldering fire covered in ashes and follows the fool. One's actions and thoughts determine one's rebirth, not the rituals of others. This passage emphasizes that how a person is reborn is a natural result of their action, not something that the prayers and rituals of others determines. Then Abhipanna Ka Putra, the headman, went to ask Gautama, the Blessed One. Having gone there, he paid respects to him in hands in Anjali and sat to one side. Seated on one side, he said to the Blessed Gautama, the Hindu Brahmins of the Western lands, Lord, those who carry water pots, wear garlands of water pots, who resort to water for purification, and the worship of fire to improve the lot of a dead person, inform them of their destiny, and send them to heaven. But is it the Blessed One, the Gautama, the Arihat, the fully awakened, enlightened one, capable of doing what would make every person in this world to be reborn at the dissolution of the body after death in a good destination, a heavenly world? He asks. Very well then, headman, replied Gautama the Buddha. I will put the question back to you on this matter. Answer as if you see fit. Do you think, headman, here there is a person who destroys life, who steals, who misconducts themselves in the enjoyment of sensual pleasures, speaks untruth, engages in decisive speech, harsh speech, and idle chatter? His intense desire is malicious in thought. He holds miccha titi, wrong views. Then a great crowd of people coming together and congregating would pray, practice, and circumambulate with their palms put together in Anjali, saying, may this person at the dissolution of the body after death be reborn in a good destination, a heavenly world. What do you think? Would that man, because of the prayers, praise, and circumambulations of the great crowd of people at the dissolution of the body after death, be reborn in a good destination, a heavenly world? No, sir, replied the headman. Headman, suppose a person were to throw a hefty boulder into the deep lake of water and a great crowd of people coming together, congregating, would pray, praise, and circumambulate with their palms in Anjali put together, saying, rise up to the surface, O hefty boulder. Come floating up, O hefty boulder. Float up to the shore, O hefty boulder. What do you think? Would the hefty boulder, on account of the prayers and praise and circumambulation of the great crowd of people raised up to the surface, come floating up or floating to the shore? No, sir, replied the headman. So it is it with any person who destroys life. Even though a great crowd of people coming together and congregating would praise, still at the dissolution of the body after death, you will be reborn in the woeful state, a bad destination, the abyss in the hellish realms. Headmen, what do you think? Here there is a person who refrains from destroying life, refrains from stealing, is not greedy, bears no thoughts of ill will, and holds samatiti, right view. Then a great crowd of people coming together and congregating would pray, saying, May this person, at the dissolution of the body after death, be reborn in a woeful state, a bad destination, the abyss in the hellish realm. Would that person, at the dissolution of the body, on account of the prayers and praise and circumambulations of that great crowd of people, be reborn in a woeful state, a bad destination, the abyss, the hellish realm? No, sir, replied the headman. Suppose people were to throw a jar of ghee or a jar of oil into the deep lake of water and break it. There the grains of sands and the jar fragments would go down, while the ghee or the oil will come up. If the great crowd of people coming together and congregating would pray, saying, Sink, O ghee and oil, submerge, O ghee and oil, go down, O ghee and oil, what do you think? Would that ghee and oil, on the account of prayers, praise, sink, submerge, and go down? No, sir, replied the headman. So it is with any person who refrains from destroying life, etc. Even though a great crowd of people coming together and congregating would pray, say this, May this person, at the dissolution of the body after death, be reborn in the woeful state, a bad destination, the abyss, the hellish realm. Still, at the dissolution of the body after death, he would be reborn in a good destination, a heavenly world. This can be cited from the Bandaka Putra Sutra from the Samyutta Nikaya. How past actions lead people to differences among people. This passage explains how various bad and good actions lead respectively to rebirth in the hell or the heaven realms, or to the various kinds of bad or good fortune in the future of human rebirth. This should not be taken to mean that the past karma is the only cause of differences among humans, but that it can have a definite influence. Good Gautama, due to what cause, dependent on what condition, are worse and better states to be seen among those who have become humans, although they are all humans. We see humans with a short lifespan and with a long lifespan, with many ailments and with few ailments, ugly, beautiful, weak, powerful, poor, wealthy, of low social class and of high social class, foolish and wise. Good Gautama, why are these differences seen among humans? Young man, beings have their actions, karma, as their own, are inheritors of their actions, ordinate from them and relate to them, have them as their refuge. Actions divide living beings into the worse and better states. Here, young man, a certain man or a woman destroy living beings, is cruel, is with bloody hands, engaged in destroying and hurting living beings without compassion for any beings that have come into existence. That person, on account of that action performed and undertaken, is born after the dissolution of the body, after death in the woeful state, a bad destination, the abyss, the hellish realms. Instead, if the person comes to the human state, whenever born, he or she has a short life. Young man, destroy living beings, being cruel, having bloody hands, engaging in destroying and causing hurt to living beings without compassion to any beings that have come into existence, is the past conducive to the birth with a short lifespan. Young man, here a certain woman or a man gives up and abstains from destroying living beings, throws away stick and weapon, is considerate, compassionate, and abides with sympathetic concern for the welfare of all living beings. That person, on account of that action performed and undertaken, is born after the dissolution of the body, after death in the good destination, a heavenly world. Instead, if that person comes to the human state, wherever born, he or she has a long life. That path, young man, is conducive to having a long lifespan. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is of a kind that hurts beings with hands, cods, sticks, and weapons. On account of that action performed and undertaken by that person after death, he or she is born in the hellish realms. Instead, if that person comes to the state of human beings, whether born, he or she suffers many ailments. Young man, this is the path conducive to having many ailments. Young man, here a certain woman or a man of that kind does not hurt beings with hands, cods, sticks, or weapon. That person, on account of the action performed and undertaken after death, is born in a good destination, a heavenly world. Instead, if that person comes to the state of humans, wherever born, he or she has few ailments. This is the path that's conducive to having few ailments. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is angry, is given to irritability. Even the slightest remark he or she curses, becomes angry, becomes malicious, reacts with anger, shows hatred, anger, and displeasure. That person, on account of action performed and undertaken after death, is born in the hellish realms. Instead, if that person comes to the state as a human being, whether born, he or she is born ugly. Young man, this is the path conducive to becoming ugly. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is not angry, is not given to irritability. Even with many adverse remarks, that person does not curse, does not become angry, does not become malicious, and does not react with anger, does not show hatred, anger, and displeasure. That person, on account of that action performed and undertaken in birth after death in the hellish heavenly realm, instead. If that person comes to the state of human beings, whether born, he or she become beautiful. Young man, this is the path conducive to becoming beautiful. Young man, here a certain woman or a man has an envious mind. It's one who envies, resents, and begrudges, and gains respect, honor, veneration, and offering received by others. That person, on account of that action performed and undertaken, is reborn in the hellish, or is reborn as a human being, becomes less powerful. This is the path conducive to becoming less powerful. Young man, here a certain woman or a man does not have an envious mind. It's not one who envies, resents, and begrudges, and gains respect, honor, veneration, and offerings received by others. That person, on account of that action performed and undertaken, is reborn in the heaven, or is reborn as a human being, becomes powerful. This is the path conducive to becoming powerful. Young man, here a certain woman or a man of that kind does not make donations to renunciants or Brahmins for food, drinks, clothing, and carriages, flowers, scents, ornaments, beds, dwelling, and illuminations. Is reborn in hell, or reborn as a human being, becomes a person of little wealth. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is that kind that makes donations to renunciants or Brahmins, is reborn in the heaven, or reborn as a human, becomes a person of great wealth. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is stubborn and conceited, does not revere one who is worthy of reverence, does not stand up with respect for a person who one should stand up for respect for, does not offer a seat to one who is worthy of a seat, does not give away to one who is worthy of giving away to, does not honor one who is worthy of honor, is reborn in the hell, or is reborn as a human, becomes a low person of social class. Young man, here a certain woman or a man is not stubborn and conceited and reveres one who is worthy of reverence, is reborn in heaven, or reborn as a human, becomes a person of high social class. Young man, here a certain woman or a man does not approach a renunciant or a Brahmin and ask, Venerable Sir, what is wholesome and what is unwholesome? What is wrong? What is right? What should be practiced? What should not be practiced? Doing what will be for the good and well-being for a long time. Doing what will be for many harm and suffering for a long time. Is reborn in hell or reborn in the human, becomes one of the faulty wisdom. Young man, here a certain woman or a man approaches a renunciant or a Brahmin and asks, Venerable Sir, what is wholesome? What is unwholesome? Is reborn in the heavenly realms, or as a human being, becomes one with great wisdom. So then, young man, beings have their actions as their own, are inheritors of their own action, originate from their own action, related to their own actions, have their actions as their refuge. Actions divide human beings into having worse or better states. Kama sakomi, kama tayato, kama yoni, kama pantu, kama patisarana. Yam kamam kadisami, kaya nama papa kama tasatayato pavisami. This could be cited from the Kula Kama Vibhaga Sutra from the Majjhima Nikaya, the third edition, 203 to 206. Experiences and good and bad actions are not all due to past karma or a god, but nor are the causeless. This passage emphasizes that it is important to take responsibility for one's action and not blame them on one's previous karma or actions, or a god or an entity or supernatural power, or say that they may occur causelessly, such as one has no way to control them. Bhikkhu monks. There are these three systems of religious teachings which, when closely dealt with, taken up for the close scrutiny and discussed thoroughly, finally ending up leading to non-responsibility for action. What are the threes? There are some renunciants and Brahmins who hold the theory and are of the view, whatever this person experiences, whether pleasant, unpleasant, nor neither unpleasant nor pleasant, all that is on the account of actions done in the past. There are some renunciants and Brahmins who hold the theory and are of the view, whatever this person experiences, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neither unpleasant nor pleasant, all that is on account of creation by a supreme being. There are some renunciants and Brahmins who hold the theory and are of the view, whatever this person experiences, whether pleasant, unpleasant, neither unpleasant nor pleasant, all that is on account of no cause of condition. Here, Bhikkhu monks, I approached those renunciants and Brahmins who hold the first theory and asked them, Venerable ones, is it true that you hold this theory? When asked, they admitted. Then they tell me, Venerable ones, then is it due to their past actions that people become destroyers of lives, takers of what is not given, engagers in sexual misconduct, liars, those who use harsh speech, divisive speech, itis chattel, those with intense desire, malicious minds, and wrong views? For those who fall back on actions done in the past are essentially reality. There is neither interest nor effort regarding what ought and what ought not to be done. When in truth, the reality, what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, are unattainable by these people who live with lost mindedness and unprotected. And even the personal destination, a renunciant, is inappropriate for them. The same is then said with respect to the other two theories. This could be found and cited in the Titya Yatana Sutra in the Anguttara Nikaya, first volume, page 173 to 176. Feelings and illness are not all due to past karma. This passage critiques the idea that all unpleasant feelings and illness arise due to past karma. Karma is one possible cause, but the other causes are physical, environmental, or one's own present inept action or overt exertion. Here, taking the idea of karma in a fatalistic way is wrong. Sitting on one side, the wandering ascetic Molika Savaka said to Blessed Gautama, Good Gautama, there are some renunciants and Brahmins who declare in this way and who hold this view, quote, whatever a person experiences, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neither unpleasant nor pleasant, all that is on account of actions of karma done in the past. What has good Gautama to say about this? Sivaka, replied Gautama, here certain feelings, Vedana, arises on account of disturbance of bile. If should be understood by oneself that certain feelings arise on account of the disturbance of bile, it is also commonly agreed by people of this world that some feelings arise due to the disturbance of bile. Sivaka, the renunciants and Brahmins who declare this theory hold this view. Whatever feeling this person experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, or neither unpleasant nor pleasant, all that is due to past actions. Miss what they themselves have known. They miss what people of this world commonly accept as the truth. Therefore, I say this is wrong view of those renunciants and Brahmins. Sivaka, certain feelings arise on account of the disturbance of phlegm, wind, the coming together of these, the changes of seasons, use of things in wrong ways, exertions, or born of the results of karma. This can be cited from the Sivaka Sutra, Samyutta Nikaya, volume 4, page 230 to 231. A good character can dilute the karmic results of bad actions. This passage explains that the same bad actions do not always have karmic results of the same intensity, for the nature of a generally bad person amplifies the results of a particular bad action, while the nature of a generally good person dilutes the results of the same kind of bad action. Bhikkhu monks. Someone says, in whatever manner a person does an action in the respective manner, he will experience its consequence. Bhikkhu monks, if that be so, there is no point in living the holy life, and there is no room for a complete making an end to dukkha. Bhikkhu monks. Someone says, in whatever manner the consequence of an action done by a person is to be experienced, in the respective manner he has experienced its consequence. Bhikkhu monks, if that be so, there is a point in living the holy life, and there is a room for a complete making an end to dukkha. Here, Bhikkhu monks, a trifling bad action done by a certain person, leads to the hellish realms. Here, Binku monks, a similar trifling bad action is done by another person, but its consequences is experienced in this life itself. Nothing of it is experienced in the life that follows, and that questions of any further consequences does not arise. For what kind of person is it that even doing a trifling bad action leads him to the hellish realms? Here, Binku monks, a certain person is of uncultivated character, uncultivated ethical discipline, uncultivated mind, uncultivated wisdom. He is petty, of narrow self, abiding in suffering due to something small. It is in that case that kind of person that is doing even a trifling bad action leads him to the hellish realms. For what kind of person is it that doing a similar trifling bad action has consequences experienced in this life itself, but nothing of it is experienced in the life that follows, and the questions of any further consequences does not arise? Here, Binku monks, a certain person is of cultivated character, cultivated ethical discipline, cultivated mind, cultivated in wisdom. He is not petty, has a great self, is abiding in the limitless. In that case of that such a person that doing a similar trifling bad action has a consequence experienced in this life itself, but nothing of it is experienced in the life that follows. The questions of any further consequences does not arise. Suppose, Binku monks, that person took a pinch of salt, put it in a cup of water. Don't you think, Binku monks, that little water would be salty and undrinkable? Precisely so, sir. And for what reason? There is a little water in the cup, and with that pinch of salt, it will become salty and undrinkable. Suppose, Binku monks, that a person threw a pinch of salt into the river Ganges. Would you think, Binku monks, that the river Ganges would become salty from that pinch of salt and become undrinkable? Not so, sir. And for what reason? In the river Ganges, there is a great mass of water. With this pinch of salt, it would become salty and undrinkable. In the same way, Binku monks, a trifling bad action done by a certain person leads him to the hellish realm. And a similar trifling bad action is done by another person, but its in the consequences has the tendency to experience in itself in this lifetime, and nothing of its experience in that life that follows. And the questions of any further consequences does not arise. This could be cited from the Lonakapalaka Sutra, Anguttara Nikaya, the first volume, page 249 to 250. I'm going to stop there today, and we will pick up with chapter 5 on Theravada tradition on human life, karma, on self-determination of one's rebirth. And it is in the middle of the page here. Common Buddhist text, guidance and insight from the Buddha, Chief Editor, Dr. Maha Dhamma Kosachan.